Welcome to Rom Wills, Money Matters. African Americans need to focus on job creation. Now, you know what? I remember when my mother, rest her spirit, we had a conversation, and my mother had a tendency to get right to the point with stuff. People could talk about a whole bunch of stuff, and she was just the type to say, "Well, just do this." She'll answer everything in like a sentence, right? And I said something about and this was over a decade ago because that's when we were about to hit the Great Recession, right? And things were falling apart, and everybody could see it. And I'll never forget what she said because I remember I specifically said to her, I said, "Yeah, all these jobs are disappearing out here." And my mother, in her own way, she just got right to the point. She said, "Well, create some new ones." I mean, just to the point. I'm gonna tell you what, and this is specifically for African Americans, because as I said on this channel, and this is no disrespect to people of the other races and cultures, but a big issue in the African American community is jobs. I mean, seriously, I know it's overall, but it's always been that in the African American community. Like, regardless of whatever the official jobless rate or the unofficial jobless rate, right, is in the country, it's always hard for African Americans. Oh, and let me say something quick about that because whenever they say, well, we have an unemployment rate of 6.7, right? Now, some people who don't know any better, they'll think that's it. Oh, well, 6.7% of the population is unemployed. No, those are only the people getting unemployment insurance. Some people, they get the maximum they can get, and then they still don't get a job. So the number of people who just simply don't have a job, or at least a job on the books, is way higher. Now, getting back to the main point, it's always higher for African Americans than it is for other groups, particularly African American men, right? And so that's a major thing. Let's just be real. I mean, we need money out here. We don't hunt for our food. Well, most of us don't hunt for our food, right? We don't build our own homes. We don't live in that type of culture. If you want a home, you gotta pay for it. If you want to eat, you gotta pay for it, right? But in order to pay for just the basics in life, you need money. You need money, right? And one of the biggest things, I mean, I know people talking about, racism and a whole bunch of other stuff, but honestly, the biggest racism that a black person will get is not on the streets or somebody just looking at them funny. It's in jobs. It's in jobs. It's in getting money, and then it can even be extended further when you talk about redlining and stuff like that, being able to go someplace. All of it's economic, right? The biggest thing we got to focus on is not so much getting jobs, because it's been proven there's been a problem with us getting jobs from other folks. Let's just be real. Let's just be real. And even sometimes, even when you get those jobs, anytime that you got some states that have to put out laws to say, hey, you can't discriminate against somebody because they're wearing their natural hair, there's a problem, right? There's a problem. Look, I'm going to tell you what. African Americans, to solve a whole lot of these issues, need to focus on creating our own jobs, creating our own businesses and stuff. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts. Now, just to be clear, because sometimes that's been said to people and they'll say, well, ain't that racist or something? No, all you're doing is providing a service. You're not discriminating against somebody from using your business. I remember in the DC area when I was down there, I mean, I knew of several black-owned, like, either soul food places, like restaurants. Actually, they were specifically soul food type of places, or black-owned. But they had customers in there from everyone, like one in particular. I mean, it was a serious, hardcore soul food type of joint. I got to the point I wouldn't go there at lunchtime because you have a line of white people out the door, right? But see, here's the important thing: it's not so much who they serve. To anybody can go in there to be served, but the important thing is you had several black people in there working. See, if we start focusing on, instead of as a group, stop having as much focus on getting someone else to accept us in a job, is create our own jobs. Create our own jobs. There's nothing wrong with that. You can service anybody you want, you know? And you don't even have to use the term like, oh, I'm black owned or anything. Shoot. Like I said, I've seen plenty. In fact, I've seen plenty of restaurants. There was a soul food place in the Baltimore area, and these were Pan Africans. And I said, got in there. This was a Pan Africanist place. It was blatantly Pan Africanist. And I'm in there eating some good vegan food. Shoot, next couple tables in there were filled with white folks. So let's get off of that. See, sometimes we talk about this and somebody think it's racist. No, it's about doing for self. Every group does that. There's nothing wrong with that. And you can still have whoever is the customers, but the thing is we have to create our own jobs. Entrepreneurship has to be promoted. You can't wait for it. We can't wait for it. And especially in this time now, you can't always wait for it. And indeed on IG, I follow some sites that are focused on black business, and I consistently see like a post about someone who might have been laid off a job and started something new. And businesses could be anything. I mean, yeah, I mentioned like food business, but I don't know, it could be a cleaning business. It could be if you're a professional, an accounting firm. If you're an attorney, it could be a law firm. It could be a medical practice. Whatever. It could be a painting job, whatever. You know, because one of the things, and there was an article I wrote one time. It was for a political website, and it was saying, we need to be, we need to look more at entrepreneurs, business leaders for business people, successful business people for leadership. Because where are they going to lead at? They're going to let you know how to start a business. They can do seminars or just set an example. And it's interesting. I had somebody write me when I wrote that thing and said, well, they don't give anything, And I'm just like, well, they're not supposed to give, We got to start doing for self. We got to just start doing for self. And I know some people ain't, you know what? Seriously, because look, we got to make sure our children are fed and everything. One of the reasons I'm in business is I want to make sure my sons are fed. I want to make sure that they have something no matter what, And I have family members who got like little businesses and everything. You have to create our own, and there need to be more of a focus on that, right? It's just doing for self. It's just doing for self. Every group in this country ultimately does for self. They create their own jobs and businesses and networking and all of that. There's nothing wrong with it, and every group does it. And, it actually makes it better overall for all communities. It really does. It makes it better because you're providing services, you're providing income. Even the government, they getting better. They getting a better tax base because they use those tax dollars from the business in order to provide services, to do something for the schools and everything. Right? So it's an all around thing. Everybody benefits, but especially African Americans. All right. So seriously, really consider that. That's why I always promote in my book, Nice Guys and Players, even though it's mainly about a man developing himself for relationships. I specifically say every man should develop something, some type of business or something he can control, even if he's making six figures. It could be a side business. Everything matters, and just the mindset has to be there. So I want everybody to think on that, and you know what the deal is. Let's go make that money.